Hi, boys and girls. Happy Monday. Welcome back to school. So we're just going to get started with our new week and our new essential question, which is, how can learning about the past help you understand the future? Also, sorry if I'm dark. It's really sunny outside. Anyways, we've kind of talked about this before, right? When we were learning about African American heritage, and when we read that book about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? We talked about how learning about those events and about, women's suffrage and how women couldn't vote, how it helped us change the future, right? And even the present. So we're going to read a few stories this week, just focusing on that. They should be really interesting. And then we'll talk about them a little bit. So we'll start with our vocabulary words. Right here. So our first word is archaeology. So archaeology. The graduate student in archaeology helped to uncover the ancient temple. Maybe you've heard of this word. Usually it's associated with dinosaurs. So archaeology is the study of the way humans lived a long time ago. Okay? Or let's just say the way things lived a long time ago, right? Because dinosaurs aren't humans, but archaeologists do study that kind of thing. So the question that goes with it is, how does archaeology help us know history? Next word, document. Ellen writes in her diary so she can document the events of her day. Document. Not a document like a piece of paper, right? This is a verb. To document something means to keep a record. So for example, like a diary is you keeping a record of things that happen every day, right? Also, like when you go to the doctor and you have to get shot, right? They have to document that so that they don't give you the same shot next time, or so they know if you need another shot, right? That's called your immunization, and that's them documenting it. Okay, our next word is era. The moon landing in 1969 began a new era of space exploration. Well, we read about this. So exciting. An era is a period of time in history, usually beginning with an important event. So remember, this era was the era of the space race, right? We talked about that when we read about the little girl and her grandpa watching the moon landing. Next word is evidence. The detectives looked for evidence at the crime scene. So evidence is proof of something, right? Whenever I ask you guys to write an essay and I say, okay, so you have to have evidence for what you believe, right? Whenever we talked about Oreo writing, excuse me, whenever we talked about Oreo writing, right, the reasons and the explanation were the evidence, right? That's you telling me why you think something. Evidence is very important. Next word is expedition. The wildlife biologist led an expedition to explore the rainforest. An expedition is a journey made for a particular reason. So there's a reason why you're going on a trip. The next word is permanent. The pyramids were made of large stones, so they stay fixed and permanent. Something that is permanent is lasting, so it lasts a long time. Tremendous. I can see a tremendous number of stars in the sky tonight. Tremendous. Something that is tremendous is very large or great. So what would be an antonym or the opposite of tremendous? Next word is uncover. What did you uncover when you cleaned the old painting? Uncover. To uncover something is to discover it or make it known. What might you uncover if you lift up a big rock by a pond? And that's it for our vocabulary. The words this week are they sound like words that we've worked on before, maybe in another book or something, so that's good. And our story for this week. So where it all began. So how can learning, it doesn't tell us, never mind. Okay, here it is. Essential question. How can learning about the past help you understand the present? Read about the Jamestown settlement. So this was like the original settlement that happened here in the United States of America, or North America. So, take a tour of Jamestown, Virginia, the birthplace of America. And here, the building of the Jamestown settlement in 1607. They thought they were lost. The Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery had sailed from London, England on December 20th, 1606. The expedition was bound for Virginia, carrying 144 people. Finally, on April 26, 1607, the ship sailed into Chesapeake Bay. In the words of one voyager, they found fair meadows and goodly tall trees. On an island in a river, they built a fort and named it after their king, James. Jamestown would become the first successful permanent English settlement in the New World. The struggle to survive. There's a proverb that says, ignorance is bliss. In the case of 104 men and boys who came ashore, this was true. They were faced with tremendous challenges. The water from the James River was not safe to drink, and food was scarce. 2 weeks after the settlers arrived, 200 Indians attacked them. So they started the story feeling hopeful, right? Excited for the new land. But here where it says the struggle to survive, maybe their opinions changed a little bit. John Smith, an experienced military man, became head of the colony in 1608. He had been in charge of finding local tribes willing to swap food for English copper and beads. Smith was tough with both the Indians and Englishmen. He that will not work shall not eat, he told the colonists. Smith knew that an attitude of every man for himself would endanger the colony. The western Chesapeake area was ruled by Chief Powhatan, who governed an empire of 14,000 Algonquian-speaking peoples. His daughter Pocahontas became a useful friend and an ally to John Smith. So the movie Pocahontas is actually based on a real story in our history. Not all the details are true because it is a movie, but most of them, or a lot of them, are. Okay, so I have a question. John Smith says that men who will not work shall not eat. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that you would like to live like that? Like, let's say your mom says you have to do all these chores and then you can have dinner, right? Now, our moms are a lot nicer, or our tias, our grandmas, grandpas are a lot nicer than this guy. This guy he was in the military, he was pretty hardcore, right? But do you think that that was fair of him to say that? That maybe people were tired a certain day or sick? Something to think about. And then here is the real life Pocahontas. Princess Matuaka was born around 1595. Her father, Chief Powhatan, called her Pocahontas. She saved John Smith's life twice, and he wrote that Pocahontas's wit and spirit were unequaled. Pocahontas married a planter named John Rolfe. first marriage in the era between an Englishman and a Native American woman. Rolfe, Pocahontas, and their son visited London. She never returned home. She fell ill aboard a ship bound for Jamestown in March 1617 and died. Okay, taking a closer look. And up here we have a map of the settlement of Virginia. So this darker orange shows how much of the Europeans, how much land the Europeans had settled. And then it shows you here like the circle is a village, square is a fort. I think this is a square. Triangle is an Indian reservation, and the star, I cannot see it, maybe you can. Oh, Jamestown. Well, Jamestown is the capital. So that's here. Okay, taking a closer look. Archaeologists digging in Jamestown have discovered Indian artifacts along with English ones, evidence that Indians lived in the fort for some time. It must have been a very close relationship, says William Kelso, an expert in colonial American archaeology. Kelso has worked for 10 years to document this site. His team has managed to uncover more than 1 million artifacts and has mapped out the fort's shape, its foundations, and burial grounds. Jamestown left a record of greed and war, but it was also the start of representative government. The settlers gave America a solid foundation to build upon. So the question that I ask you to answer in your writing today is, what would you have liked to ask John Smith about Jamestown? John Smith is the one who worked to make treaties with the Native Americans. His life was saved by Pocahontas. So what would you like to have asked him, to find out more information about the past that could help us now in the future? Um, I believe that's the only question I ask you. This is a really interesting story. Maybe you want to watch the video again. But that's it for today. Have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.